So this is your host, Steve from the back, coming at you again, raw and unscripted as always. And so, you know, I thought I'd do this rant, and this rant to me is just kind of like, it's not a trash talking rant. It's just kind of a rehashing. Like a rehash rant, or maybe a rant to where I'm putting things into perspective, but I'm gathering concepts from many different type of rants, of things that I ranted on throughout the channel, to just make a big statement. And the statement really is something that's really, really simple. Now, regardless of what type of person you are, because I feel like this is something that most of us can agree on. Like, obviously we all have our differences. Like, I did the video where I pointed out that, of all people, Pastor m.u.g.e.n versus this guy that I don't know his name, but he's the "it's okay to be soft," it's that dude. And I just laid out, like, the reasons why, in my opinion, I don't agree with the Christian perspective of Pastor m.u.g.e.n, obviously. You know, because I'm not a Christian, you know. But what I do agree with him, though, is I do agree with that he does believe in, like, you know, there's reasons why why it may be good for a man to be strong, masculine, and manly. Now, that's not rocket science, you know what I mean? Like, and I agree with, like, is there a place for someone to be super soft, I guess? Yeah, like, depending on what type of world you live in, what type of society you may belong to, what type of people you may want to interact with, or what type of culture is your culture, or even, and I'm not trying to say like every man that would agree with this weird person over here doesn't like women, you know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure there's some men out there that they are just like me, they like women, but maybe they're of a certain way that they somehow want to be soft for whatever reason, or just inherently are, or whatever. And I don't know, they just have a different type of way about them, you know. They just handle things different. I don't know, you know, or maybe in their circle, maybe the women that they send that tend to be attracted to them are the type of women that tend to be attracted to those type of men, you know. That could just be it could be just that, you know what I mean? It could be that the women that they attract are put off by classically masculine things. Maybe even just that, maybe even like violence scares them, you know. Maybe they're really girly, and like maybe things that us as men, like myself, would find interesting, to that girl it's just off-putting, you know what I mean? Like, she would never be interested in manly things. It makes sense, you know. So like I'm saying, what I'm saying is, it's not necessarily so wrong what that guy is saying over there. It's just, I feel like what I don't agree with is the context of how he's saying it, in the context. Because this is what I always say about certain types of people. I feel like they like to take things out of context to feed their agenda to someone else's detriment. And that's not a good thing. And often it could be even worse than that, because some people are simply just predatory. You know what I mean? Whether they're sexually predatory, whether they are financially predatory, which means they're really just trying to get people's money. You know what I mean? Like, it's a money grab. They create toxicity. You know what I mean? Because they're not good. It's like their intentions are not good. Their behaviors are not good. and they're seeking to persuade and delude a person who is not smart enough to find their way. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. That's all. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people are out there doing the work of those who really have who have ill intention for people. But the thing is, I don't think they know that their personal intentions might be good. You know what I mean? Like, they say, oh, you know, it should be like this. It's okay to be soft. They'll say all these things like they're. But I think, like I said, the place of where they're coming from, number one, is not the majority. It's a very, very small community, small type of person. It's very small, so it really doesn't work in the majority. In all respect, like, I have to say that person just has their own opinion. I'm not even really saying that they are wrong, because wrong is very subjective. My opinions on things, I can't say that they are truly right. That's what I always have to put, because I have to put it in the proper context. The context means a lot. That's why I always say that in the right context, it means a lot. So I know that's a mouthful, but I have to say all that, because when I do these rants, I don't want people to get confused. These type of rants, anything I do on this channel, it's not about to bring confusion. It's really to only bring truth. That's all it was always been about. So I have to break it down. But I also want to say, with this rant, what I really want to hit home is the disgusting trend and culture of people, I'm gonna say it's two ways. One is, like, you don't like, normally wherever you come from, whatever background you have, whatever type of person you are, whatever preference, whatever lifestyle, whatever major differences people have, generally people like luxury, okay? That's one thing. And I think that's a good thing. Now, you should have the ability to endure certain hardships, and that is a strong, very, very strong quality, which you should have. You should have the ability to have to go through very, very poor conditions, because if you don't have the ability to go through poor conditions, it can make you a person who is too soft, or too you're too girly. You are too weak, and you won't fare well in certain instances, because you just can't survive. And I'm not talking about that. That's a whole different thing. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about is, I'm talking about how, like, some people, they don't like the fact that people want nice things. You know, some people, they'll turn their nose up at you because you want better things. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother thing. You know what I mean? It's like or you have some people in other countries to where they turn their nose up at Americans like myself because, like, knowing all the flaws America has, which it clearly, obviously has flaws that are absolutely disgusting. And I'm no activist or anything, but there are certain things that America has, like any other countries have, that make me so disgusted that, like, I have radical, almost sometimes, I'm not going to say the word with the T on it, but, you know, some radical thoughts that, like, really make me wish bad things would happen to certain places, people, and institutions. Like, I wish they would get destroyed, or wish they would just get burned down, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll say again, I always look at, like, the prison system, and I look at how just, like, a jail building in itself, how disgusting it is. Just like how, you know, how do you really process those who are truly innocent? You know what I mean? What happens when people are really technically set up because it's really about the money and the revolving money that's being pumped in, opposed to actual justice, you know, shady things like that. And then I'm thinking, like, well, a part of my brain just flies off and is just like, well, we'll just burn the whole thing down then. You know what I mean? Just destroy it then. But then you think, like, well, the problem with that is, if you do that, then what about the people in it? And I'm thinking, like, no, just you heard what I said. Just destroy the whole thing. I don't care who. burn it all, everybody, everything in it, destroy it. Like, and they say, wait, whoa. It's like, whoa. But then, you're killing innocent people, right? Or that's too extreme. Like, maybe some people could have just lived out their sentence. Their sentence isn't that long. They have to go home. You can't just burn them. You can't just kill them. You know, like, you can't just then how can you determine what's really, like, fair? You know what I mean? Like, that's too extreme. Obviously, right? And that's one of the biggest problems. That's what I mean about how, like, you know, you try to solve... We can't live in a world without problems, but it's like you try to solve a problem humanely or maybe inhumanely, but you just open up a whole nother host of problems. And it's just part of... I guess it's just part of life, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things to where it just makes me a different type of person. I'm not going to say it makes me a colder, meaner, or whatever person, but it just makes me look at things differently and makes me value things differently. You know what I mean? Knowing that this is the world that we live in, that's full of so many problems that don't seem to have really actual good solutions, and then the nonsense of knowing, like, that, well, why are these people there in the first place? Like, what is so messed up with people's DNA that why are these people being even born into this world? Like, why are they created? Why are they even here? Knowing that if they're going to be such a way that they're going to just end up in that situation, then they're going to end up creating a literal populace of some of those that you would deem to be thrown into, like, the fire, you know what I mean? But with all, like I said, the law is what it is. For whatever reason, it is what it is, and there's no radical change of anything that I see in sight. And, like, you know, like I said, it's extreme to think that way. Like, oh, you're just gonna throw everybody into a friggin' furnace, literally, like, in the building itself. Like, you're just going to destroy it all together, and then the next, like, no, because that's why it's there in the fridge. It's just, you get it. But with all that crazed crap being said, you know, what I'm saying is, no one likes to be poor. Okay, no one likes lack. Less is not always more, nor is more always good. But balance is good all around, no matter where you come from. And you would want some bit of luxury. Now, I'm speaking about this in the way of, like, for instance, 98% of the time, it's always the extra above and beyond is what makes something, okay? If it was not that, then something would just be regular, it would just be looked over, it would not be valued. It would be nothing special, as they say. It would just be nothing special, okay? This is one of the reasons why I am big on, not excess, but I am big on trying to build things up and trying to maximize things, okay? You know, like, it's not about, like, you ever seen where, like, and it's very hard to watch too, like, where you see, like, it's a family of 6 or something, and you look at them, and now there's a difference between being naturally thin, strong, and healthy, like myself, you know, not to brag, but I'm saying, like, I'm someone who's always been thin, genetically, naturally thin and lean, so it's deceiving how strong I actually am, or how healthy I actually am, opposed to how thin or how small I actually look. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about starved people, you guys. I'm talking about people that they're so thin because they are literally starved. They are not eating. They don't have the energy to exercise. They just labor. They labor because they have to labor. They have to walk, or they have to run at times. They have to go without food. They have to make food stretch. They have to, and it's sad. It's very hard to watch. It's very, very saddening when I see things like this. I see these things on, like, YouTube, I've seen it on television way back. I've seen it, you know, I'm thinking, like, these people are starving, you guys. This is not funny. This is, like, not good. This is horrible, terrible. These people are not eating. And I put it like this. Some people think, like, oh, well, you know, you got to be grateful for what you have. Like, I'm thinking, like, well, you should be grateful for what you have, but this is the problem with that. You should want more, you know? That's all I'm trying to say, you guys. Like, I'm pretty sure one of those people would love to be in a position like most of us in America, who has the ability to at least go to a pantry, who has consistent running water, you know what I mean? Who has lights that just turn on, that they just flip a switch and they turn on, you know, who have these luxuries and privileges, right? I'm sure they would love to have that, you know? I'm sure they would love to be able to be full, and then they say, oh, you know what, actually, it's like, it's such an alien concept. Oh, well, actually, you know what? I'm about to go to the gym, so I need a little bit more calories. So it's like, oh yeah, yes, I got all my protein in, I got all my macros in, and I got all the hydration I need. But you know what? I'm gonna eat just a little bit more because I'm starting to up the weight, and I need to build that muscle up, and I need to get a little bit more of those calories in to compensate, right? And then they still may even have room to even, I don't know, let's say if they feel the need to do cardio, they may, you know, it's like they have enough. That's what I mean. The difference. That's the polar opposite. The polar difference is, like, I'll say that it is good to be able to value what you have. I'll say it's good to be able to endure. I'll say it's good to know when not to be excessive and when not to be insanely materialistic, and it is not good to go be overzealous in your pursuit of collecting things, or in your pursuit necessarily of attaining things and attributes. Like I said, like if you're in the gym or whatever, you know, the opposite is people who are, you know, I'm not going to say nuts, but, you know, people who are on SARMs, they're on this type of drug, they're all, you know, it's all type of steroids. It's just, you know, they're having organ failure, they're having all these issues because they're just, you know, they've went too insane with this. So what they've done is they've taken the privilege of being in America, they've taken the privilege of having things at their disposal, but now they have taken that a step above. And I'm not talking about that. That's when you're getting to territory of, you know, you need to tone it. You need to, like, step it back. You know what I mean? And we always talk about that on this channel, about, like, discipline in order. You know what I mean? It's always about that. It's about, like, not going over, because you don't want to, you don't want to go over to that side over there. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to go over to that, because once you do that, that's misusing the privileges you have. And this is like just one of those rants. You know, this is one of those things that I have to talk about like how parts of discipline is just that. Discipline can mean different things for different people, but for me, that's part of it. You go above and beyond in your pursuit of certain things if you have to, like, because you do have to go above and beyond. You know, that's you have to. You have to. I mean, you always have. It's like you have to go above and beyond in your efforts. That's how I'll say it. Like in how much you put forward to create something. Yes, you have to go above and beyond, but you don't go into the territory of now where you're doing things that are dangerous to your own self, dangerous to your health, mismanaging funds, mismanaging the privileges that you have, and now you're going into the realm of the toxic. You know what I mean? That's my point. That's the point I'm really trying to make, is like where things should be balanced. But, you know, one thing that just rubs me the wrong way is when I see, like, people demeaning other people because someone simply just wants more. You know what I mean? Like, someone just wants better for themselves. I think that in itself is toxic. You know, that's toxic in itself. Like, why are you gonna demean this person because they want to get out of poverty? You know, they don't want to stay in poverty. You know, they want to have a choice. They don't want to always have to choose just everything out of necessity. No, they, in my opinion, they may deserve that. They may deserve to have a choice. It's not right that they have to always do whatever just because they're that impoverished. Like, are they? You know, that's not. It shouldn't be that way. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, now I'm not saying that like everyone deserves the same as everyone, and I'm not saying like, because I feel like that's opinion. You know what I mean? You could say just because someone's a rotten person, they don't deserve, like, but that's just an opinion. You know what I mean? But and you know, teach his own. But like I said, I don't believe in this culture of people trying to pass off like it's good to keep everything so small. You know what I mean? I don't believe in that. Like, I think there's a place for it, but so what I'm basically saying is that I am of the persuasion of trying to make things bigger and better. You know, like you're trying to build things up. You know what I mean? You're trying to ever branch out. But even that is to a point, though. That is still to a point. That's still to a point. And what I mean by that, before I'm going to close, because I don't want to speak too long. What I mean is that if you, let's say you become wealthy, right? Let's say you actually become wealthy, which is not a high percentage thing, but let's say you actually do become wealthy, right? Someone becomes like wealthy. Well, I feel like, don't think that you are above the law at that point, right? don't you know what I mean? That would be my opinion on people like that are super wealthy. Like, don't be a person who thinks that you can just do things that, like, you know darn well you would never do, but now you really think you're going to try to attempt to do this because you're tricking yourself into thinking that you are that wealthy or whatever, or that you know, now you're thinking that, oh, because you have this and you have that, and your status is this and your status is that, and so on and so forth, that you're tricking yourself into thinking that it's a good decision, that you should do certain X, Y, Z, and this and that, and this and that, right? And I'm going to have to speak on some people that are like that. Some of these celebrities, I'm not going to say their names because I don't think I should really just say their names, but some of these celebrities that you have where you're hearing, like, it's always a scandal. It's always either something about money. One of the worst things, I think it's the most deplorable thing that it could ever be, is when you hear about these sex allegations. And I'm thinking, like, how did, like, this can't, I'm like, okay, I'll put it like this. I'm like, how could that be true in my opinion? Because I'm thinking, like, it can't be true. Like, I know it is probably true, but I'm thinking, like, I say it can't be, but I really know it is. It's just like, my point is, how can a person get away with so much crime? It just doesn't make sense in this modern society and world. Like, how are you getting away with that much crime? It doesn't, how? Like, how is that true? How did you really do that? Like, how? How did you, if you really did that, how did you, what type of lawyer do you have? You know what I mean? Why are you not behind bars with the rest of the scumbags of this world? How are you not in, like, it doesn't make sense then. Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? How in the world are you doing this, attempting all these things, and then you're still on TMZ? There's a bunch of YouTube videos about you people, and people are clearly just calling you out blatantly, and somehow you're not. Like, see, that's what I mean about that. It's like, my point is, that tells me that you got so much money and you got so much power that you actually decided that you were going to live above the law, and somehow maybe you did, you know. But then I have to say to that is, you got to realize this though. A person that has nothing to lose, that doesn't want, how do I say this, that does not value you and believes you are evil, will take you out. That's what you have to be careful of. You will not know this person's name. You will not have any connections probably to this. It could be the most unsuspecting person that is invisible, and this person will assassinate you. That's the problem with that. So if you think that okay, I'm above the law, I'm this, I'm that, well, I say think again, because no person, I don't care how much security you have, I don't care who you are, what your status is, you will always have some weak point to where you're vulnerable, and there could be someone. You know what I mean? There could be someone. And that's what I have to say about that. Now, I'm saying that, like, you should be living a life that you are not just a terrible person simply because you are not that terrible of a person, not just because you know you can get away with murder. That's what I'm really trying to say. But what I'm saying is, I understand how some of those people, they're beyond that. They do not care. So, but what I'm saying is, you got to be careful with that, because, like I said, you would never expect it. You know, you would never, no one ever expects it when they go out like that. No one ever expects. That's the whole point. No one's thinking that the next day that they get up and they're cruising, or they're this and that they're going to be dead the next day or whatever. No one thinks that. But like I said, when you get all that big and you get that much power behind you and you get that much money, and you know, you have all that going on, all you're doing is making a big target on your friggin' forehead. You're just making yourself, because everyone knows who you are now. You know, everyone knows who you are. You know, everyone knows your name. You're a household name. You've been in movies. You've been in this or that, or you know, you're that big. You know, so that's what I have to say about that. You know, and I'm not saying that that is always a thing, but I'll tell you this though. There's a lot to what I just said. Some people say, oh, no, trust me, there's a lot to that. And there's people right now, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, there are people right now that there are certain people that have position and power, and they have money, and they have all this image and stuff, that there's people that no one knows about that want to take you out right now. Just let that sink in. There's people that you don't know nothing about these people. You don't know anything of them from anything. And they would want to take you out. Not just that they want what you have, but they want you gone. Just, I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it just 100% real. Now, I know that's harsh, but it's reality. They want you gone, bro. So, just saying, you know, like I always say on this channel, my culture is about balance. It's not about excess. It's about balance, right? It's about trying to gain things, but always trying to keep things in perspective, okay? Trying to do things a certain way for positive results, but there is balance that has to go with that. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. And like I said, you know, obviously I don't believe in a culture of demeaning people in what's the word? Encouraging lifestyles of lack. You know what I mean? I don't believe in that. You know, I do not believe in that. I believe in trying to get people above and beyond. You know what I mean? Trying to get people to put forth an effort that goes, because let's be honest, you guys, like 98% of anything is your effort. It's not necessarily like the things you have all around you to try to to prove that you like. The thing is, whether you put in enough work or not, inevitably, if you do the right things to create something, you're gonna have certain things around you. You know what I mean? That's just the way things are. But what I'm saying is, the effort that you have to put forth often always is in the realm of going that extra mile, right? It's always that. It's always going that extra mile in some way, form, or fashion. Even just like your discipline in itself, like you're going the extra mile. So that's what it really boils down to, and that's what I'm really trying to talk about on this channel. It's about trying to go the extra mile, trying to create something, trying to keep things balanced, trying to keep things disciplined, and striving towards something, but not forgetting where you came from, though. You know, don't ever forget where you actually came from, because you need to learn. You need to still be able to have learned from where you came. You know, not that you become some monstrosity. You know, not that you become some retard. You know what I mean? Because that's what a lot of these people are, like retards. You know what I mean? It's like retards that have money, retards with things, it's like, you know, no, you don't want to be that. Nor do I feel like you want to be the person who is so small-minded that you never go, you don't believe in. There's difference, you know what I mean? It may be a sad situation where you just don't have the means to go any further with anything. Like I said, you live in certain countries, impoverished, so on and so forth, poor health, poor conditions, injustices, you know, tyrannical type of situations, people who are, you know, in positions of power but they're shady, you know, money grabs, money scandals, where the whole point of it is just to keep the people who are, you know, in power and to keep everybody poor and sick and this and all that. That's a different story. But what I'm saying is, like, you know, this is always about culture. I discovered that like years ago, that basically culture is such an important thing. That's the thing. It's when you create a culture of something and you create a standard of something, then that's how you really start to impact people, because it's really cultural. I mean, there are other factors always. There's always other factors always, but the culture itself is really where that's like the core of where everything stems from. You know, that's how it is. This is I don't know what I'm going to entitle this rant. I don't know. I have an idea. I'm not sure yet. So this is your host Steve from the back. I appreciate it. If you're not subbed, you know, if you want to subscribe, if you're visiting the channel, just leave a like. I mean, at this point, I don't even care if you want to leave a bad comment. Just leave a friggin' comment, man. Just hit the like button and leave a comment, or you know, hit the like button, leave a comment of some sort. I mean, you could even argue this if you want. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to, whatever. But, until next time, have a good one, you guys.